You've been in the game a long time, and you've fought all sorts of different styles. You must have fought opponents who you don't like and opponents who you probably couldn't care less about. You seem genuinely not to like your opponent, Ben Askren, this time. What kind of impact does that have preparing mentally when you really don't like the guy you're facing?
I mean, it's the same because I prepare for everybody. I had a lot of respect and admiration for Till, but I prepared my butt off for Till. And like if I hated the guy, and you could imagine for Ben, I'm doing the same thing. I don't want to overtrain either, so I just do exactly what I did before, and let the cards play out. And those cards read that I take Ben's head off his shoulders. So I genuinely could care less, to tell you the truth.
You've shown yourself, throughout your career to be super well-rounded. You train with a great team. Do you ever feel that your wrestling gets underplayed a little bit just because of your background, and how you came up in those street fights and stuff like that? Do you think people underplay your wrestling at all?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'm no collegiate standout. I didn't become an All-American or win a national championship in wrestling. But if I could have had the grades to compete in wrestling, I think I could have been a serious force if I would have got the wrestles, which was one of my life regrets. I just couldn't get my school stuff together to where I could wrestle at that level. And I love wrestling. I'm a huge fan of it. It's actually something that I do every day or every other day. And my coaches know to what extent I love wrestling because I do it often and I do it well. It doesn't matter if it's an Olympians in the room or a national collegiate champion. I'm always getting after it with the best guys in the room. Not to prove nothing, but because I like to wrestle. I actually enjoy the sport of wrestling. I watch it still to this day. So I'm just happy that I get to showcase my wrestling against a so-called decent wrestler.
You kind of fought a who's who. You fought some of the very best in the game. But now you win this, the title is right there for you. Can you almost taste it? And it's coming towards the later stages of your career. Does it feel like everything's coming together in that way in terms of that title trajectory?
Oh, definitely. I just feel like I got to take care of business July 6th, and there's nobody with a better resume to compete for that title than me. I don't think I'm going to have to say much. I think the whole world will know, man, we know who we want for the next title shot. Not just for my body of work, not just for the current guys that I've beaten, but you're going to get a dog in that title fight. And when I'm champion, I'm going to fight. I'm going to do what I've always done, is fight and not make excuses, fake injuries, or I'm running for politicians, so I got to take some time off. I'm here to do what I love to do, and it's fight. That's what I love to do, is to compete.
Your last fight, the finish was pretty incredible. It was fireworks, and maybe surprising for a lot of people to see Till taken out that way. Are you looking to finish Askren in a similar style? Are you looking to knock him out?
I want to punish Askren. If I'm honest with you, I want to punish that guy for like 14 minutes, and then right before the fight is over, I'll take that individual out of his misery. But I want to punish him. I don't want him to get off easy like Till. I want to punish him and then do what I do, So if it's up to me, I'm going to punish this guy as much as I can, break down every part of his body, and just beat the crap out of him, man.
It's interesting he's coming into this one having never lost. Do you respect that? Do you respect his record or his body of work? Because the majority of it was outside the UFC.
The body of work, no. He fought a lot of guys that I don't even know where they found these guys from. And all Ben did was bury his face in their crotch. Didn't even put these guys away or make it like there's a huge difference between them. So I know for a fact Ben's never fought nobody like me in his life. Somebody that I could actually wrestle back into him and then punch, knee, elbow, and kick the crap out of him. And the amount of dog and will that I have inside of me, he's going to find out that he overstepped his boundaries by a long shot.
This is a pretty awesome card, but a lot of people have their eyes on this fight, perhaps even more than the main event. Are you getting that vibe over there?
Yeah, because I got a lot of my fans, but it's always going to be divided. We got GOATs. We got John Jones in the card. I'm a fan of that guy. We got Amanda Nunes. I'm a fan of her by a lot. So it's hard. I know people are very interested in my fight because it's supposedly it's going to be on the feet, knockout, or it's going to be on the ground. So people are, I think, very interested in that demeanor, that where they're in between a hard place and a rock. They don't know which way he's going to go. I'm going to tell him which way he's going to go. I'm going to knock this fool out, and it's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna put on a great show for my fans, for those that actually want to see guys compete and fight, and maybe not care so much about the social media, because that's all this guy, how he makes the noises every day. He's just making a comment, saying something. Now is the talking time. I'm getting interviewed, I'm getting asked about him, I'll tell you how I feel about the guy. He'll just say whatever he can to get media to cover him, to get somebody to speak about him, whether it's on good or bad terms. That's all the guy done, and that's how he creates most of his noise. When I pop that bubble, good luck getting a fight book, because they're going to know you're full of shit, man.
You mentioned John Jones there, yeah, probably one of the greatest to ever do it. Do you think Santos, with his power, I mean, do you see that being an upset at all?
I'll tell you this much. Anybody that has two hands against another person that has two hands always has a chance in fighting. John Jones, I could easily tell you if he's not number one, he's number two, pound for pound of the ages. I respect Anderson Silva and a lot of guys from that era, but John Jones is above and beyond. The things that he can do with his wrestling set him apart from every other fighter that I've seen, because nobody is as well-rounded as him. With the wrestling, with his defensive and offensive wrestling, and his striking is just different, to where he could strike with good guys, because he brings this awkwardness into him when he strikes that only he does. Nobody can imitate it. So he's all in his own league, I think, when it comes to fighting, man.
So I'm speaking to you right now from Singapore. You fought in Asia, you fought in Japan before. We'd love to come see you back out here, but are we running out of time now? Do you think you're going to be around for much longer? Have you got a get-out plan?
I got about a good 4 years left in me of me competing at this level, of me going to places and shutting them down. I got a good 4 years. I got no heavy injuries. The biggest war I've been in my mind is the Darren Till fight. That's the most abuse I've taken in a fight to date, you know. So I'm excited, man, to give it all I got. These years, a lot of things have been coming together. I cut a lot of negativity, demons, and devils from my life, and it's showing in different things that I do. So Asia will see me again. I haven't fought there in a while. I've done a lot of PR in Asia. I was in China not too long ago, Singapore as well. I love Asia, man. They always treated me amazing over there when I fight in Japan. I've asked the UFC to put me in a couple shows in Asia. It just didn't happen. The bookings, the timing didn't happen. If I could close out this year with a fight in Asia, I would have loved to, man. And not for nothing, I don't know why, but they love me over there, man.
Oh yeah, it'd be great to see you out here, man. That'd be amazing. I've got to ask you about a gentleman that you don't really like to talk about. Mr. Edwards says that you're 100% going to meet, and if it's not in the octagon, then it's going to be on the streets. But I know a lot of fighters would never want to fight anybody if it wasn't for money. So what do you say to that?
I mean, the dude is delusional and confused, you know. I saw a recap of what he did of the night, you know. He thinks he's 100% right of what happened. I'm doing an interview, like I am right now. And if somebody was to ask me a question, I'd politely say, hey, give me a second, I'm doing an interview. Now imagine, I just fought Darren Till. I got fight of the night. I got knockout of the night. And I'm getting interviewed about this. Why are you trying to steal my shining light? Go get your own. You had your chance to do it. It was a split decision. People were booing you. Nobody clapped, and you're from there. People were happy when I won. Even though I beat the hometown guy, they were cheering for me. Why is that? And he can't see that, you know? He's just a hater and a little jealous, you know? So for my Asian fans that are watching that are minors, I'm not going to say the word, but the dude is delusional, you know? He asked me a question in my interview. That was enough already for me to get confrontational, because you know what I'm doing. I'm working here. We can talk later. If talking is what you want to do, we could do it later. And then tells me to shut up. You know what I'm saying? And then puts his hands up when I approach him to talk to him. The dude, when he says about the street fighting and stuff, that's just him trying to create some type of attention or clout, as the youngsters say, because he doesn't want no problems. I'm a real life dog, man. In the streets, ain't gonna be no referee to pull me off. When that guy finally makes it into the top 10, if he ever does, I'll be there to welcome him with open arms, and I'll send him right back to reality. You know, he's a very delusional individual. A lot of fighters got to pound their chest, and I'm the best, and I'm the best. And then they find out the harsh way that you're not. You're just another guy that thought he was the best, you know. I don't really like to talk about him too much, because I feel like I made that dude famous. He's literally famous more than anything in his career for me addressing him and putting him in check. And of course I has to sting and hurt him. I mean, who wants to be famous for that? For you being the loudmouth that got put in check? Nobody wants to be that guy, you know. It was him and his crew of posse. He was with like 3-4 guys. You think I got scared or I gave a fuck? No, you know. So him saying like shit that I sucker punch him. How do I sucker punch you? I walked up right to your fucking face, man. You know, and you're there with your whole posse. I'm built different. I actually come from a very humble place, not a pretend humble place like this individual does. And to tell you the truth, all these fighters, man, talking about violence and street shit. I'll be honest with you, man. I don't want that, you know, because I really come from that place, and there's a lot of people that are behind me that are really from that place. So him making threats like that, you know, maybe not the brightest thing, man, because it's not what you think, player. You know, I'm not your friend. I never will be. I come from a different place, man. He needs to look at this interview and look in my eyes and realize I'm a very pretty, handsome motherfucker, but I'm a motherfucking dog, man. I'm a devil, man. And all this shit, man, you know, seeing like Conor throwing fucking shit through the window and stuff, like the sport's getting a little bit out of control, you know, with some shit. And there's some real hood street motherfuckers out there. You're looking at the alpha of them, you know, and the people that are behind me, same thing. So these threats that he's making that he's gonna catch me on the street, man, he better just slow that down, because, you know, not gonna work out well for him in any way, shape, or form, you know.
Final one, then. You're a pretty good businessman, hey, because you turned that situation. I mean, you made some very cool T-shirts. How did that work out? Did you sell out of those already? Those were awesome.
Yeah, we did. We did sell a good amount of units. You know, people liked it, and it just sucked because there was a lot of bootleggers out there, man. Before we even had the official shirts, there's a lot of bootlegging on there. So if you're hearing this interview and you want your shirt from your boy Gamebred, help me out. Put my kids through college. That's Gamebred official. That's where you get your official shirts from. But it was awesome, and it was great. It was a little blessing in disguise. You know, I didn't think I was going to do too much I never thought any of the fame that it generated from me just putting this guy in line would happen. It's cool that it did, you know.
Hey, all the very best to you. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Go smash it on the weekend. Cheers, man. All the best.
Thank you, man. Always a pleasure, man. See you soon, man. I'll be fighting in Asia soon.